I believe in breaking the bonds of gravity. I'm talking about the accumulated clutter of unwelcome thoughts, feelings, and habits in our life and business that generates our own personal gravitational pull, holding each of us down in our own unique way. This video from the Impact Podcast explores how to live your life right now, even during a pandemic, even when all of your plans are canceled.
Yeah, I know, Jonathan. So I know that you coach people into living, their better lives, operating their businesses easier. But my question is for you. What are some things that you're hearing a lot of people struggle with these days, especially the younger entrepreneurs, in their mid to late 20s, because I know you were a young entrepreneur yourself at like the age of 24, you started some ventures or whatnot, but dealing with different types of like stress from, maintaining a perfect online presence through social media, or just like obsession with materialistic goals, or even depression due to like COVID isolation or whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I work with a number of young entrepreneurs, and I'm delighted to answer your question. But first, let me ask you, what are some of the things that you've been dealing with this last year of COVID, living with your parents and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, living with them is great. We have good family dinners, sushi dinners, drink the sake, all that stuff. So it's been great, but definitely me and my girlfriend's company have been suffering, a great deal, because we're in the entertainment industry. We do live performances for big gatherings of weddings and, clubs and movies and show and whatnot, right? So it took a big hit right there, because business just went straight down. So we're trying to find a way to remodel our stuff to do online classes and stuff. But that's kind of our biggest struggle, is just losing the market, I guess, a lot.
Yeah, there's been so much disruption, but here's the two things that I hear more than anything else. One, it's Groundhog Day. Every day's the same. There's nothing to look forward to. I can't go out to dinner. I can't go to a concert. I'm just stuck at home with my family all day, and
Right.
that has its pluses. But without the external structure that we're used to having, the natural response that most people have is just to stop doing everything. And I'll it's a big difference, 24 versus 12. But I'll share an example for my son. He's a musician for years. He's been part of this outstanding program called School of Rock, and he sings, he plays like guitar, piano, drums, a few other instruments, and he loves it. And then when the pandemic hit, everything was canceled, and he can't go to his classes, and they can't do their concerts. And for the first 2 or 3 weeks, it was actually kind of cool, because we were spending all this time together, and he had all this free time. He didn't have to go to school. So he was playing music like 2-3 hours a day. But then after a few weeks, it started trailing off. And then there was 3 months that went by where he didn't touch his guitar at all. Because for him, it's all about being social. And if he couldn't do it the way that, do what he was used to, he just didn't want to do it at all. So summer came, and I said, his name's Kubla, you can't do School of Rock, but you could still play music, and it could still be social. You could still do it with friends. Why don't you start your own band? So he's 12 years old. He goes across the street to a neighbor girl. She's 18. She plays piano. Invited her to join the band. He called up an old drummer that was in one of his School of Rock bands, and a bass player. And for 3 months, once a week, they would meet in our backyard, socially distanced, wearing masks, and they started their band. And they would play, and they practiced, and they chose their songs. And then in October, they had a public concert. It was in the park. There were maybe 30 people, again, all socially distanced, wearing masks. It was all very safe. 15 or so were friends and family. The rest were just passersby. It was a real concert. Wow. And it was a real musical, social experience. But it was different than the one that he was used to. The one that he was used to was impossible. So the first thing that I would ask for anyone that I was coaching, whether they're young or old like me and your dad, is, what are the things in your life that you've learned to accept that you would have never consciously chosen? What are the things in your life that you've learned to accept that you would have never consciously chosen? Well, I would have never consciously chosen not, having to close my business because all of these live events are canceled, or I don't know if you close your business, but whatever it is, that's something you would have never consciously chosen, but maybe it's something that you've learned to accept. And you can't do it the way that you're used to. But there's a reason, there's a deep why for why you chose to do this business. And that why has an expression that's different, an alternative expression that's different from what you're used to.
Yeah.
And I would work with you and I would ask you, do you know what your why is for your business?
Yeah, so we feel really passionate about bringing just arts back to the community. Just having things and having people be like expressive with their body through dance and just art in general. I think it's just, you know, all over like Europe and stuff. You have so many of these things. It's like you guarantee you go somewhere, you see a show. There's always a dinner and a show, right? Like that's the thing. So we're just trying to bring that back into the normal, you know?
Yeah. So art in the community and
art in the community.
Bodily expression.
Absolutely.
So you can't do it the way that you used to do it, but there are other ways to do it. And I want to introduce a concept called the outward mindset. The opposite of an outward mindset is an inward mindset. And that's what most of us have most of the time. With an inward mindset, we care about our goals, our needs, our challenges. And the opposite of an inward mindset is an outward mindset, where we see other people as people who have their own needs, challenges, and objectives that are just as important to our own. With an inward mindset, to the extent that we think of other people at all, it's they're either vehicles to get what we want, or they're obstacles that are in our way. Devin, let's pretend that you're at the top of a hill, and I give you a ball, and I ask you to push the ball down the hill. What's going to happen to the ball?
Ball is going to roll down the hill.
All right. Now let's pretend we're both at the top of the hill, and you try to push me down the hill. What's going to happen?
You might be resistant in rolling down the hill.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know what your experience is, but you know, when I was a kid and I played King of the Hill and I pushed someone, it never happened that they said, "Oh no, Jonathan, he pushed me down the hill." They're not a ball; they're a person. They push back.
They're a person, yeah.
Your inward mindset provokes an inward mindset in others. But if you could have an outward mindset, if you could be more interested in what other people need and helping them achieve their goals, it opens up all these possibilities. So before I was a full-time coach, I'm a serial entrepreneur. My primary business was Kidorable. It's fun, practical, unique children's accessories. If you've ever seen umbrellas or rainbows that look like frogs and ladybugs and stuff like that, that's us.
Yeah.
And we built our business on small independent retailers. A $5,000 wholesale account was a really good customer for us. And we used to have a sales goal, an inward sales goal, that we wanted to bring our customers up to $5,000 in sales. We wanted to ship $5,000 out the door.
Right.
Eventually, we shifted to an outward mindset where we had a goal that we wanted our customers to sell $10,000 of our product. Most of our customers have 100% markup. We ship $5,000, they sell it for 10. But by the goal, so the actual sales were the same for us, whichever way we phrased the goal.
Right.
But when we were focused on $5,000 in sales, it just meant it had to go out the door. But when we were focused on having our customers actually sell $10,000, well, then we have to make them successful selling our product. We have to educate them. Maybe when we come out with a new product, we should guarantee that it's going to sell, and we'll take it back if it doesn't, to encourage them to sell more. Maybe we have to give them some promotional support, help them with their displays. It opened up all these possibilities to make everybody more successful. And similarly, for your why, for your business, if the goal is to get people to pay you money, and of course, I mean, that's part of the goal. That's part of your objective, your inward objective. It's not that your needs, challenges, and objectives don't matter. But if that's all you're focused on, then, well, people don't want to go out right now and hand you money. So that's hard. But if you think of it in an outward mindset, I want 10,000 people, I want 100,000 people to experience art in their communities and to get moving.
Yeah.
Well, there's all sorts of ways you can do that. And with that outward mindset, it opens up that possibility. Wow. And another answer to your question, what thing are people dealing with? There's a lot of people who had big plans before the pandemic hit. And now they can't do those things. And a lot of them are waiting for the pandemic to end.
Yes.
Right.
So they could start living their lives again. But you don't live in the future. Your life's happening right now. And if you're remembering a really nice memory from the past, or if you're resentful about something in the past, you're feeling that right now. Right. And if you're planning the future, and if you're waiting for the future, when that future arrives, it will be happening right now. You can't wait to live your life. And the secret is to be very clear in your why, to to be very clear on a vision of where you want to go. I want to bring art to 100,000 people that they'll feel in a bodily way, so they want to get up and get moving. And then you look at where you are right now without judgment. Accept it exactly the way that it is. That's the only way to be happy.
Right.
And then if you want things to be different, what's your vision for the future? Look at the gap. What's missing? And then what is an action you could take that's going to bridge that gap? And maybe it'll be different than you had in mind in the first place.
Wow.
We can all do that all the time. Was that useful for you? If it was, and you would like some help with this stuff, I run a free Facebook group called Mission Control Fellowship to help entrepreneurs gain clarity around who you are, where you want to go in your life and business, and how to get there. It's for lifelong learners looking to improve your life and business. Might be useful for you. Check it out in the link below, because to boldly go forward, a little help goes a long way.